Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show.
The Rise Up Morning Show.
Today is Tuesday, April 15th. Whether you're listening now or in the future, hello to our friends on the podcast. We hope your candles are green. We're talking about coffee. We're talking about quitting smoking. And, of course, we're here to answer your crypto questions. If you've got a crypto question, this is the helpful place for news, commentary, and occasionally we say something that just clicks. Fact check yourself, brother. But maybe today is not the day. I don't know. It depends on what you ask. We'll see how it comes out. And if you want to know something about how this technology or any new technology works, trust us with your question and we'll do our very, very best to answer it or pass it off to a semi-competent 8-ball that says, Bitcoin fixes this. So, guys, happy Tuesday. How's your morning going?
I'm curious about Alex's morning. You've been on the camera, off the camera as we've been backstage. You got dog drama, you got kid drama.
Well, no, today
just a deep sigh.
Today there's no kid drama. It's spring break, so I didn't have to wake up at the absolute crack of pre-dawn. So I slept in a few minutes, but I still had to do all the dog stuff. And of course every dog was like, you know what, today we're going to eat breakfast really slowly. And I have to have them all like sequestered so that they don't bully each other while they eat, because they all eat at different paces and some of them are more invasive than others. So like right now, the last one eating is this tiny Chihuahua who stands here and just eats off of her special little plate for like 20 minutes. And you can't see it, but right around the corner. Actually, here. You know what?
Yeah,
I'll describe it to
take
everybody
us around
who's
the corner.
Audio only. Alex is lifting us into the air, and
I got unplugged.
God. Is that Pumpkin? I can't see her. He's gone audio. Oh yeah. Okay. So there's a dog peering at us through the gate. It looks like Arlo. There's a dog eating on the other side of the gate in the ire of Arlo's gaze. That looks like Pumpkin, and I'm sure there's at least a dog or two under the desk, right, Alex? You're muted, by the way. Is there somebody under the desk, too, that you just didn't show us?
Alex, did you lose all audio?
Alex, did you lose the will?
he moved something, and a plug definitely came unplugged.
Give it a try. Give it a little refresh.
Nope.
And nope, nothing.
Nope.
Hang on, Alex. I've got you.
I will absolutely die on this hill.
This is what we get for him just showing us more of his life. The world shot it down. Well, Alex is gone. I'm going to go get my espresso.
Go get your espresso, and I am going to let everybody know that Alex and Will are doing their impersonation of Bitcoin. It's here, it's not. It's here, it's not. It's coming back, it's not. And right now, I think we're, 3 or 5% away from what was the Liberation Day high. Apple says in the comments, Evan, you sound like Safety. Bitcoin fixes this. We had a really good comment already to start the day that I'd love to latch on to. Amazon asks, can we ask questions about investment or business? Alex, now that you're back with us, what do you think? That would probably be a good thread. We can speak to both those things.
I think that my attempt to show you Arlo stalking Pumpkin through the gate was not worth it.
It's okay. I narrated the whole thing.
Thank you.
I am a big fan of this.
Yeah, no, that's a good one to chase a little bit, because kinda, but maybe not in the way that some people would expect. But also, I do have to just put it out there into the ether that there is some pretty big ETF news from Canada.
Oh, I didn't see this. Oh, Canada.
Well, hold on.
Canada. Sorry, Canadians.
It's setting a good precedent, and I'm a big fan of this. So Canada is it looks like they're set to approve a Solana ETF with staking mechanisms enabled this month.
Wow.
And
I didn't see anything about that. Where did you see this?
It's front page everywhere.
I don't see it on my Twitter anywhere.
Well, Twitter is full of idiots. Go to here.
That's honestly great, because I was just looking at demand for Solana.
Coin Tracker.
Activity's a little bit down.
I got you.
Okay.
I got you right here.
Thank you.
But annoyingly, the SEC is postponing the decision on Grayscale's Ethereum staking mechanism for their ETF. So,
yeah, well, I mean, Paul Atkins, the head of the SEC, new head of the SEC, did just get voted in. So, you know,
I don't accept excuses, Will.
I don't accept excuses. I want what I want when I want it.
I've never had a job where I could be both incompetent and just like given, oh, you just got here, let's take several weeks before you start working. It's like, and he hasn't had a chance to be incompetent yet, but it's like, this is a big deal. And, you know, I would have liked to think that somebody was working on this beforehand. I totally get the postpone, but I hope that there's some better messaging around it, just because otherwise it seems like more of the same.
It's also the manipulation of the market. Why would you approve the Solana ETF when Trump's probably going to do some more terror stuff and make the markets go down? So, you know, turn it on at the absolute bottom so that Larry Fink gets to go and buy at the perfect time.
Sorry, I forgot there was a way that we
could. Did
all
you just
these
say
financial markets are for Larry Fink, not for the people?
It's the perfect time to buy.
I forgot.
I can't stop laughing at it. Yeah, man.
I did forget that we need to make sure that we have the opportunity for the most manipulation possible. MEV.
Yes.
I forgot to MEV every piece of advancement and regulation for this industry.
There you
My
go.
bad.
Yeah. Now you're all right. Man, I know it's early. I don't know if you've had your coffee yet. You know, these markets aren't here to help people. They're here to help a very select few.
They're here to help Larry.
They're here to help Larry. And when you say it like that, don't you want to help someone named Larry? I'd like to help Larry.
I'd like to help Larry. We're here for Larry.
We're here for Larry.
What was the president's thing he used to say? Maybe it wasn't this current president, it was somebody like a Bob and Mary or something like that. What do they always say?
I have no
Wall
idea
Street and then
what
there's
you're...
Main Street. I don't feel like there's a common name throughout the parlance of U.S. politics specifically that people say, we're going to help, you know, so-and-so on wherever. Cosmic says, I think it's a real possibility that the bottom's already in, as bottoms are marked by extreme fear. And indeed, things are fearful. How's the fear and greed index looking right now?
It's still pretty low, but I want to say the stock market pulled out of extreme fear, but I could be totally wrong. You want to look it up for the stock or for crypto? I'll look it up for the stock market.
Yes, that sounds great. I see by most measures on the Google search. 38?
For crypto.
That's it? Wow.
Yeah, which is up from single digits not very long ago here.
No, I said that's it, meaning like I expected it to be much lower still.
The stock market is still in extreme fear at a 20.
At a 20, but that's like 5 times where it was. It was at a 4. I saw it at a 3 at the lowest.
I did see some indicators that just put theirs to 0, and which seemed. I think people forget. Someone phrased mantra really well yesterday. They were like, "Well, it's down 90%. It could still fall another 99%, and you have to remember that."
Statistically proven to be true. That can happen.
Unfortunately.
I knew I should have bought Story yesterday. It fell into my perfect buy zone, and I was like, I've put enough capital into the market, and now it's up 20%. I knew I should have bought more. Say la vie. I'm in money. I'm in profit. Sorry. Say la vie. I say la vie a lot.
Because it's applicable, hyper applicable these days.
Yeah, and it's also just slightly more classy than saying it is what it is. And it gets to feel superior as I
had a non-rate when I was a young petty officer in Detroit, and he swore to me that it was grammatically correct to shorten the phrase "it is what it is" to "it's what it's," and he died on that hill, and we all relentlessly tormented him with that for the rest of my tour.
You know what? Props to him though for holding his ground, for being so blatantly wrong about the English
I don't
language.
think that's wrong at all. I think that's maybe not colloquially correct, but that's grammatically. I'm gonna ding that guy.
I'm gonna go on Amazon. I'm gonna buy a gwump noise. I'm just gonna give a gwump.
I'm going to now make it my mission, Evan, to unite you with this particular individual, and we will see how long it takes for you to gwump him, because it will be almost instant.
Oh my gosh! Listen, I'm not saying I enjoy the sound of it. It's like nails on a chalkboard, but I'm pretty sure it's correct. Can we address this question? This is a good question. Has it ever happened to you, dear listener, our friend, that you bought a token and you don't have a wallet that supports it, or you buy a token and then the place you bought it delists it. This is what happened to Tony Primo.
Oh, that's happened
He
to me
bought
too. Fucking annoying.
DSO on Coinbase. Then they halted trading for some reason, and I don't know where to put it. Okay, let's try and
Trust
figure
Wallet.
this out. Trust Wallet supports DSO? I was going to ask him, what chain is your DSO on? And send only from Coinbase is like the status. It should be in.
Probably.
What's the ticker?
DESO. DSO.
Okay.
And maybe, will you guys look it up? And
Well-
Will, you said you had a... Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, is it native? Is it native DSO? Because isn't that a layer 1, or isn't it its own blockchain?
I do believe so. It is. It's got its own blockchain, but I'm pretty sure it's an ERC20 token.
Okay.
Well, I'm pulling it up on CoinMarketCap. I can confirm in a moment.
Okay, well, if you're I was going to ask you to tell your story, but if you're pulling it up, don't tell the story. I'll tell a quick story to buy you some time while you pull it up. Then I want to hear your story, because these are good stories to hear. They reveal that
Story one more time.
sometimes you got to fix
Story.
the plumbing. Story. Story.
Yeah, it's its own layer 1.
It's its
Okay.
own layer 1. Yeah.
It does not
okay.
have an Ethereum-based contract.
Got it. Okay. So does it happen to show you which marketplaces support it? My initial go-to would be Trust Wallet.
Well,
KuCoin.
The easiest to add to.
MetaMask,
Market-
Trust
yeah.
Wallet. All have. You can integrate DSO to MetaMask.
Mhm.
You can use Trust Wallet. There are several other exchanges. If you have access to KuCoin, you can do that. There's a
the
couple
best
different.
place for it, though,
Get.
the best place would be HTX. That's where it
Okay.
does 87.62% of its volume.
Ooh, HTX.
Is that? Did you find that on CoinGecko by chance?
CoinMarketCap.
Okay. Same thing, but worse.
Do you have a reference for HTX? Is that a wallet we're familiar with?
No,
that
that's an
rings no bells.
exchange.
It's an exchange. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. If you wanted to custody it yourself, I would recommend probably Trust Wallet or MetaMask. And what you would need to do is add a custom token using the settings. There's like a Manage Crypto button that you will navigate to in your settings. Depending on whether you're in Trust Wallet or MetaMask, you'll click a little plus icon, or you'll see something that says add a token, add a custom token. And it'll ask you for some information about that token. You'll need to go online to find it. The RPC network is one such field, but you'll put in the token name, its symbol, like the ticker, how many decimals it has, all this stuff you can look up on CoinGecko. And then you just click add token and you can send it to your wallet. You should always send yourself a test transaction first. But I'm curious, I know other people have had this problem with DSO on Coinbase specifically, and I just want to make sure it's still sendable.
Mm-hmm.
Will, what was the token that this happened to you with, and what was the workaround?
Well, it was Binance US, and then Binance US went away.
Dude.
And the token was, I had some Engine coin. You guys remember ENJ?
Yep.
Those good
Of
old
course.
days.
Yep.
Yeah. That made me fall in love with altcoin plays and got me to fall in love with Web3 gaming as an idea. But it was Engine, ENJ, and I had something else there that was a coin that literally went to zero. And I have watched a coin in my wallet actually go to zero before. So
Me
check
too.
mark on my box of crypto veterancy. And so, Binance US was forbidding US customers. And so I just had this coin on there that I couldn't do anything with. And I didn't know where else I could go because Coinbase didn't have Engine. No other US-based exchange had Engine. At the time, it was really just Asian exchanges and other exchanges. And I wasn't using a VPN at the time. And so what I did is I just went to Engine's website. I'm sure if you go to DSO's website too, since they're a layer 1 and Engine was and is still its own blockchain ecosystem, go to their website. They'll have a natively built wallet that the team should have. There should be a wallet on their website that you should be able to download and send it to that. And what I did is Engine had a mobile wallet. And it actually, it still is to this day the best mobile wallet
Quite good.
I've ever had. It's just a shame that Engine's kind of like gone to the wayside. Maybe one day they can come back if they become interoperable, but until then, Engine's toast. But I just went to their website, downloaded the wallet, and did that. So DSO should have something. If the team is worth any lick of salt, if you're not a native English speaker, you don't know what that means. But if the team's any good at all, they should have the option to download a natively built wallet for their ecosystem on their website.
Yeah, and I am seeing right now that some people have reported using, I'm verifying this to make sure because I'm not familiar with it. Are you guys familiar with HeroSwap? HeroSwap.com?
Yeah, actually, that sounds really familiar. Why do I know what that is? I haven't used it, but maybe I just stumbled across it one day. Not enough to have a conversation about it, but heard of it.
I see that there are two HeroSwap protocols. One of them is HeroSwap.app and one of them is HeroSwap.com. And the one I'm referring to is HeroSwap.com. It's instant anonymous cross-chain swaps for crypto. And it's powered by DSO. And you can swap your DSO to any other place. But here's what I'm curious about is I don't know that you're going to be able to connect to this because it's in your Coinbase, not your Coinbase wallet. So although it says you can send, somebody on Reddit said, I sent my DSO from Coinbase through this site and it'll convert it to any, interesting. So check that out, HeroSwap.com. Let's see if that's a possible thing. Cross-chain swapping, embed this widget. They appear to be a legitimate company based on just a quick search of their Twitter. And a couple of their partnerships here seem legit too. HeroSwap.com. Give that a try, and then if that doesn't work, or in order to receive the token to another wallet, you might need to add a custom. If you just want to swap DSO, you might need to add a custom network to your MetaMask, to your Trust wallet, etc., to send it from Coinbase. This happened to me. This has happened to me more than once. The most notable time it happened to me, where I feel like I had to move it again and again and again, and eventually I just had to give up the token, was with CFX. Alex, do you remember when we were working with Ethan back in the day on TFM, and he mentioned CFX as a gasless token, and I was like, I've never heard of this. And it was big in China. They were giving out grants left and right. It seemed like a really interesting token. And so I bought some, and then when it dipped, I bought some more. I was like, oh, this is great. And it was on KuCoin.
Yep.
Oh, no. It was on Gate.io. I got it on Gate.io first. They were like, hey, guys, you're in the U.S. We're not going to support you anymore. You got to get your crypto out of here. And I was like, great, no problem. Let me moved everything, but I couldn't move the CFX. None of my wallets supported it. Conflux, I'm pretty sure is the name of the token.
Conflux, that's what it was. Yep.
And it's its own blockchain. It's its own layer 1 thing. And I was like, crap. So tried all my wallets, didn't work. Found out it worked on KuCoin, but I think it was like on the Binance Smart Chain or something. I don't know. I got it over to KuCoin somehow. And then, wouldn't you know it, KuCoin did the same thing. They started sending out all those, if you're in the US and you can't prove that you're not with effective KYC, you're out of here. I was like, oh my God. So I had to do some more swapping. It had like no trading pairs. And I don't remember what I did. I feel like I ended up sending it to some sort of bridge like this, some sort of swappy whatever. We'll convert your tokens. I had to swap it for USDC. I sold it at a loss, or maybe USDT. I sold it at a loss and gave up on it. So if Conflux goes to the moon, that'll be my regret, man.
Do either of you have experience kind of playing around on Binance Smart Chain?
Lightly,
because I never did. Even when it was like super hot. In DeFi summer in 2020, I think it was.
Yeah, that's when I was there.
Evan did. I never touched it.
Yeah, I was curious how your experience measured up. Like, although, it's probably so different now from when you were on it.
I bet it is, but it looks like a lot of the stuff is very similar, like farm tokens and,
That was Evan's first big plan, his first big utilization of a DeFi protocol to try to come up with a scheme to earn passive income. It was Evan pancaking it over there on the old BSC nice. Many moons ago.
They had honestly, Binance Smart Chain has great names for their stuff, all food related.
Yeah, and it was like organic. It came up that way. Pancake Swap happened to be, I think that's why Cardano called theirs Sunday Swap, because Pancake Swap was so successful. And it was a simpler world. Pretty much Uniswap was the only game in town. And then Binance Smart Chain, somebody was like, you know what? We need a DEX. And everyone was like, hell yeah, brother. And Pancake Swap was born. They became the leading DEX. The cake token, you could stake it and earn, 130% yield in Cake
was
token.
insane.
And this is in a world where most people were just finding out about it. So like the token price was also climbing while you were earning all this stuff. It was great. I held on to it for too long and waited for the yield. And after the token kind of came back down, I was still farming it. And mostly because I waited too long, I more or less broke even.
Yeah.
So it could have been good for me, but it was mostly just fine.
Yeah, but that
The
does
user experience was great.
I mean, I know it was just because everyone loved it so much, and the volume on it's so massive. But it also makes sense because Binance gets to feed their people to it, and they're still the #1 exchange by trading volume. But that makes me think. I wanted to tell everybody in the audience this because if you don't know, BNB the token is and has been basically recession proof. It's like the last altcoin that sells off ever. It eventually in a bear market does have a big sell off, but if you pull up BNB's chart, it's always super resilient. Take it and pair it up against like any other altcoin, and it's the last altcoin that starts melting. It's always super resilient in its prices compared to the rest of the market. And it's because people don't want to sell their BNB because it gives them reduced trading fees over on Binance. So like, why would you do that? You sell all of your other coins first, and it's the last coin that you sell if you're going to get entirely out of the market. So BNB is one of those coins you could potentially look to have in your portfolio, unless you're totally against supporting centralized exchange tokens, which me personally, I am. But it's one of those coins that has an interesting play in your portfolio as being like a hedge against really negative times. If you think the markets are potentially going to roll over, you could take some of your portfolio, put it in BNB, and as markets start to tank, your BNB holds way better than everything else, and you can sell everything else and then get rid of your BNB last. Like there's an interesting argument there for a very unique role to have BNB serve in your portfolio because it's always the last domino to fall, and it's been proven the past 2 major sell-offs in Bitcoin and altcoins, which I think is fascinating because now there's enough data points there to be like, okay, interesting. BNB can play a very interesting role in your portfolio. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but I always keep my eyes on that because when the bear market hit in 2018, BNB was like the darling of the space and was still going up or holding. It was crazy, and it's doing the same thing now.
It's hard for me to tell. I'm looking just at the the chart, and I am on CoinGecko. Who allows you to? Is this a trading view thing to overlay one chart on another, or some other such tool?
I've actually never done that before. I've never overlaid one chart on top of the other. I just always have a tab open right next to one another, and then I go to the same dates. Yeah, and I click.
I know you can do that though. I've seen that on enough streams to know, but I'm not sure how you do it. That would be a.
That's a quickle. That's a quickle. It's a quickle. Just go over to YouTube, TikTok. It's a quickle. It's a quick search.
It's a quickle. It's a Google.
It's a quickle. It's a Google. God, I'm turning into my father.
Well, that does happen.
It does happen.
I've got a series of questions that I've just been kind of jotting down for anyone watching the show, just because we are working on making a more and more concerted effort every single day to make sure that the recording is great, just because we are fortunate enough now, thanks to Evan's hard work and diligence, to be posting on all of your favorite podcast streaming platforms as well, which are, of course, audio only. And so in an attempt to not derail, to just like jump from topic to topic and question to question, if you put questions in the chat, I'm going to be writing them all down. And we will then, finish a topic at hand, and then we can have them divided up into chunks, like where we can rapid fire a bunch of questions that are quick answers, and then we can go ahead and take a couple longer ones. So I've got 5 or 6 written down right now. If there are things you would like to discuss or things you're curious about, please just drop it in, and I will get you an answer as we get there. And then if, of course, you're not satisfied, if you don't get a long enough answer, if you'd like to dig deeper on something that we just don't have time for, or if, because I am just a human being, I miss your question, the Discord is completely free, and that's probably the best place to jump in and ask it again, and we can dig deeper on any topic at all.
Beautiful. Thank you.
So I have a couple that we can rapid fire really quick, and then we can pivot to one of these bigger ones if you guys are well met. And
yeah, go for it.
With it.
A couple that we can.
Oh, I like what you did there. That was good. We got to be
Thank you very
careful.
much.
Evan's like
He's
one
getting-
bad decision and one Red Bull away from just deciding he's going to become an amateur DJ over there with his soundboard.
Oh god, yeah. He's become too powerful.
His next music-based live stream is going to be him just DJing some random wedding with his soundboard.
With his soundboard, but it's just our sound. And
It's just
somehow,
us.
and
Just
somehow,
over
mostly
and over.
me.
Tell me
somehow
why.
he's pulling it off. The dance floor is packed.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Rapid fire question me. Tell me what
Throws
we
a
got.
Rise Up
Yeah.
commercial in the middle of it. This person's wedding.
Yeah, he only has one song, and it's that Pump It Up song.
And the Rise Up jingle.
And the Rise Up jingle with the gong. Okay, so in an effort to get us back on topic here, do you guys use any portfolio trackers, any token trackers, coin trackers, apps? If so, which ones? Have you used other ones? Are there ones that you've used that you didn't like, and which ones are you using right now?
The one I
question.
use currently, I don't like. And I have used it
Perfect.
for 7 years.
Oh, Will, you got to.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wow.
Tell-
What do you
tell-
use?
I use
tell me
Delta.
about this bad decision you keep making.
I use Delta, which is a
that's right.
mobile app, and like it's notorious for being just horrible. But it was the first app that I used, and I'm just like, it's good enough, whatever, you know. I smoke my cigarettes, and I open up my Delta app, and sometimes it disconnects and totally wipes away my history, and I have to replug in all of my transactions manually. But
So
you
wait
do
a
what you
second.
gotta do.
Are you telling me that this thing repeatedly gives you the opportunity to walk away with a clean break and start fresh, and you're like, no, I'm going back. Damn it, I'm dying on this hill.
Yeah, man, let me tell you.
When you break up with Delta, it'll be your ideas. That's what I'm hearing.
That's
Not,
right.
Not
Yeah.
Delta forcing you out.
I
Yeah,
fell
exactly.
downstairs.
All right,
But,
so Will's in an abusive relationship with Delta. And,
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. I use it to this day.
Wouldn't
I wouldn't recommend it.
This show is not sponsored by Delta and probably shouldn't be.
And it shouldn't be. Shouldn't be.
That's fantastic. I have used a couple different things. I've been a pencil and paper guy. I have
Amen.
been a Coinly guy because I like using Coinly gives me pretty much all the information that I need about stuff. The view is not always optimal, though they're improving it for some things in terms of like what's my portfolio, what's in profit, like in a granular way. But I really like using it because it saves me time at tax time because I already kind of know what's going on there. I can adjust my transactions if I need to change something on the fly instead of having to do it like one time at tax time when I'm already stressed about it and I'm like, what was this swap on January 3rd? What the hell was that? I also really like Coin Stats. I think Coin Stats, for all the things that Coinly does not do, Coin Stats does, and they do really well, and you can get it for a couple of bucks a month. Coinly you can use for free, connect all your wallets and exchanges, but when you want to generate a report at tax time, then you got to pay. So that could be like a good starter hack. And let me just say, by way of commercial before I kick it to you, Alex, that we just did a crypto tax class. It's an overview of Coinly, like a total walkthrough with Jessica, who's been doing taxes and crypto taxes for a while, myself, and we answer all the questions. How do I connect my wallets? How do I review transactions? What kind of information does it show me? What do I need to report? And in the package, if you buy it at theriseupmorningshow.com, you'll get a spreadsheet template with all the information already filled out that you need to track if you want to track manually, like what you bought, how much it cost, when you bought it, et cetera, if there are any fees, because you can write off your fees. So I've run the gamut. I prefer having an automated version that connects my wallets, but I do think spreadsheet is a lot easier than people give it credit for and is the simplest, like fastest for a lot of people. So what about you, Alex?
Yeah, spreadsheet is my first go-to, just to keep like quick notes in, and then I can, organize. And there are so many like this is one of the ultimate hacks that even me, this many years into using computers and stuff, I feel like every week I discover something new that a freaking basic spreadsheet can do. And when you have somebody in your life who's just a spreadsheet master, you can build some pretty incredible things on those bad boys. So spreadsheets for sure. I've also just used, and I've been using this for as many years as I've been doing anything crypto related, the free CoinGecko account. It has a phenomenal cryptocurrency tracker that keeps track of averages and also literally all you do is just manually input buys and sells, and it transfers. They have a special feature where you can delineate that you were given this amount. So it influences the total amount of your portfolio. It tracks for capital gains and how much, profit or loss you're in because of that position, but doesn't influence your average cost basis or anything like that. It's actually quite good. The only thing with it is that you have to take care of it. If you start forgetting or you don't put in transactions or you forget exactly what price you did something, whatever, it's, it will get confused and it won't give you the best data. And then anything tax related, I use Coinly and have been for several years now, just because my accountant has like a thing with Coinly and I get a free account for using his firm. And Coinly, I've had very good experience with. It's been very easy. Although I will say that I have a very light trading regimen. I don't really make very many trades. When I do, it's either just my average buys, which just kind of get added to the tally. And then lately, actually, the sells have been more. This last bull market, I did a lot more selling, which I will encounter the next time I do taxes. Thank you.
Round of applause.
Yes. Yeah, congratulations
We learn
for the selling.
We learn. We grow.
Yes.
But yeah, all of that just goes into my big spreadsheet, and then it goes into my CoinGecko. And I actually have CoinGecko lets you run multiple portfolios, so you can divide things up. So I keep it separate by wallet too. Like if I have a bunch of stuff that's just in a cold wallet that is like my average buy into a Bitcoin position, that gets tracked by itself. And spreadsheets are the secret for me, at least.
I will say that in the conversation of manually putting stuff in and then just attaching like your wallet address to it to automatically pull, I don't like the automation. Actually, I prefer manually putting things in, and this is very much so a me thing, but I think it might be a thing for a lot of people too, where it's like as I go through and I'm manually putting stuff in, I'm forced to look at my buy positions and like how much up they are typically, and I'll just be like, that's a lot of I should sell a tiny bit as I'm like manually plugging stuff in. Whereas automated, I look and go, oh, okay, that's where it's at, and I put it away, and my brain immediately goes to the next thing I have to do on my list of things to do. So the manualness, I know getting away from manual labor and doing something manually.
I settle down, killer.
Manual labor. It's manual labor for me in my white collar life. Now I have to just I'm exhausted. What a day of work. Time to
Give me my tiny espresso.
Time to go relax on the boat. As we head to my girlfriend's family home at Martha's Vineyard.
My God, he literally has the tiny espresso. I didn't know it was handy.
It's handy, man. It's a perfect prop.
It is the perfect prop, baby. But anyway, all of that is to say, slowing myself down as I look at my portfolio going through that makes me just start to question some things and to go, maybe I should sell a little bit here, or maybe I should buy and dollar cost averaging a little bit more, right? It works in both directions.
Sweet.
Excellent.
I feel that was pretty good. The follow-up question was just asking you if there were templates. Mike was asking about templates for these kinds of things. I don't have one ready, but I can certainly look for one. And if not, I can actually look into trying to make one and share that in Discord. That would be a good option. As far as automating these things, there's basically two ways that you can do this. There are a number of trackers that you can connect wallets to and connect accounts to. And so like, for example, Coinly tracks all of it automatically because I've given it permission to connect via API key to my different exchange accounts that I use, which is the thing you can dig through the settings on any specific exchange, find that API key, grant the permission on the exchange side from your account, and then take it over to Coinly and give it that key and authorize it to make the check. And what it does with those keys is only check and track balances and transactions. It doesn't have access to like do anything, but that can make it automatic. And then it's kind of up to you, like how hardcore do you want to be? How hands off do you want to be? Do you want to find some kind of middle ground? It's pretty much user preference at that point.
Yeah. And the other thing too is if you have stuff in just regular wallets, what you would do is in those apps, you take your wallet address and you put it into the app, and then the app just watches your wallet address and just monitors what's in there and what moves you're doing. And that's how you automate that. Mm-hmm. Also, one thing I always wanted to ask you guys is I saw a comment in the section. The question was, let me bring my mic closer. The question was, do you think that Base's ecosystem would be affected by people not being able to withdraw from Coinbase? And I see people post on Twitter about that, but I've never had any problem whatsoever. So I was curious if you guys know, if it's something of people just posting screenshots to get interaction on Twitter of like trying to like rage or salacious bait people into liking and commenting and reposting, or if it's actually really a problem at Coinbase, and if you know people who've had that problem. Because I move some decent sized volume, and I've never had a problem in the slightest. But I don't know, and I do a lot of stuff on Coinbase, have for years.
Yeah, I can speak on that just a tiny bit, just because I've been digging into connections with the two exchange teams for Kraken and Coinbase, and then Base, and now Inc., which is basically Kraken's competitor to Base.
Coinbase's. Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So first of all, the two teams that run those things, Base and Coinbase Exchange, are quite separate, and they actually don't work together as much as people might assume that they do, given that they're kind of the same ecosystem. And to that point, if you have connections to Base, you don't necessarily get connections to Coinbase, and vice versa. So, for example, a good friend of ours is a Kraken ambassador, and she's like, I have nothing to do with the Inc. team. I don't know any of them. We don't work with any of them. It's like a completely separate thing. It's like run, by the same parent, corporation company kind of a thing, but they're pretty separate. So I think, I think the answer to that question is kinda, from like a sentiment perspective.
Yeah, it looks like there are a lot of people in the chat that have had some issues too.
Yeah,
and I think that
I get a lot of comments about people who have a ton of issues. I haven't had them with Coinbase.
With Coinbase, yeah,
not Base necessarily.
No, and so, but the question was, do Coinbase problems translate to Base problems? Wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the question.
So, in that sense, no, I have not seen any evidence that what I would call pretty rampant onslaught of Coinbase account issues, especially that I feel like I've been seeing lately. And again, Will, I would agree with you that I'm not sure if it's just because, I don't know if frequency has actually ticked up. So I wouldn't make that assertion at all. But certainly more people these days are posting about having problems with Coinbase accounts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot more completely unfounded ones, and people like who don't have significant balances or do significant amounts of trades or whatever, just having very confusing cases with customer support where they're struggling and they can't figure out what they would have possibly done. They, consider themselves to be a pretty basic user and, done a few buys and sells and stuff. The good news there is that I have yet to see at least any evidence that is translating to people on Base experiencing issues. And that was my point of saying, like, the two teams are quite separate. So Coinbase accounts and like Base management are not the same department at all. And I don't even think they really talk to each other.
That and all the money going on Base has just continued to go.
Yeah, there are so many things that are affecting that. And I think that as long as, Coinbase has got that circle money. Coinbase has got
They do have that
the
circle
attention
money.
of the U.S. audience. And I think
BlackRock.
BlackRock and
The White House.
So, there are a lot of things. There's a lot of friction they could endure before it became a real problem. And I don't think, I don't think customer problems, unfortunately, are going to be enough of a blocker right now. I would say that if you are somebody who is frustrated and having problems with Coinbase, if you have not yet signed up for Coinbase One, you can do it right through the app in your settings. It's $30 a month, I think, US. And it includes a free trial. You can cancel anytime. And the move is, if you're having issues with Coinbase, you should get Coinbase One with the intention to call their 24/7 support, because even if they can't help you, at least you'll get some resolution fast, and then you can cancel it. And, you'll be either out no money or out very little money to have an answer to your problem.
Also, Coinbase One has saved me so much money.
Yeah.
Because the amount of, I bought Coinbase One and I was like, why didn't I bought it last year and I was like, why haven't I done this before? I did one trade and it saved me enough money for 4 months. And I was like, okay, like this is wonderful. And then it also gives you gasless transactions on base, which I've done a lot of. And so it's just, it's just nice. It's just nice.
Yeah.
And then the customer support part can't be undervalued either.
And Kraken just answered, so we're starting to get some competition between the big exchanges for a service like that. So Kraken just dropped theirs, and it's significantly cheaper to pay for their. And the thing I haven't seen, which I'm curious about, and one of the reasons I've been working so hard to get a hold of all of the Ink guys, I haven't seen what the like on-chain benefits would be for Ink with like Kraken's Premium Plus, whatever they're calling it, compared to like Coinbase Premium Plus 1,000 gigabase, who knows, whatever they call it. I don't know. They have 85 different names for their stuff, but yeah, I mean, if you're using those, I mean, Will, you would know better than me. I feel like the threshold, by which it's worth it to get that is not very high.
See, that was going to be my question. Is like, how much
fees.
activity do you generate? Because I don't think you're generating as much activity as I thought a person would need to generate to be.
I mean, think about it. If you're paying $30 a month and you're paying an average Coinbase fee for most of the fees that I've ever seen on platform, if you make more than like 6 trades a month, you're probably paying $30 in fees.
Yeah. For me and for some of our audience, it's one single trade.
Yeah. That's very true. Higher volume trades, you're going to eclipse 30 on a single transaction. So yeah, definitely worth it. I mean, of course, it's a tactic. They want to keep you on platform, but if all of your stuff is on that exchange, it's this significant discount. On fees.
Kraken really needs to spend some marketing dollars on Ink, because I still haven't seen a single thing about it outside of ETH Denver.
So that's one of the things I'm trying to chase, because I agree. Although I will say that you can't, at this point, it's a lot newer than Base. The ecosystem is exponentially smaller. And I'm wondering if it's more deliberate, because I feel like Kraken has been devoting all of their like attention generating ad revenue to main exchange, because they've really been ramping that up, especially in the wake of Coinbase having some more public facing problems.
They've been eating at Coinbase's market share for users. Yeah, which is interesting to see. I'm very glad there's like serious competition in the US for an exchange, because having a monopoly just leads to bad deals for customers. If you like free market, you like competition.
Yeah, no, you definitely want competition.
Alex, you said probably 15 minutes ago, I've got some questions here, and we're gonna rapid fire them.
That was a little passive aggressive, by the way.
I just don't think we've been rapid about anything.
Well,
if you've got a list of questions, we might need to crank through them.
We snowballed into a lot more things.
Just picking on
I
you. It was a
will
really good discussion.
rapid fire one more that came in, another follow up from all of this. Tax implications for swapping. Short answer is yes.
Yep.
So there are several. If you buy crypto, buying crypto is not a tax obligation. You do not have to pay taxes when you purchase anything. However, if you purchase it with another cryptocurrency, you actually have 2 transactions in that one. And one of those, the first one, is selling the one you're swapping out of.
Yeah.
You are realizing a potential profit or a loss from token A into token B as you swap from A to B. So if Evan bought ETH at $1,000 and it went to $2,000, that hurt to say.
Yeah. I was like, wow, hooray.
It's always my go-to example, but now I feel like I need to come up with a different one.
Less triggering.
If you bought it at $1,000 and at $2,000 ETH, you swapped it into Bitcoin, you have to pay capital gains on that $1,000 of profit that you potentially made from that increase in price, even though what you're doing with it is investing in something else. Now, if you do that swap and then the asset B tanks, you could sell and realize a loss and cancel that gain out. But at its front, there is a tax implication and obligation for swapping from token A to B, because you're selling A to get B.
Can I actually add a little cherry on top of that? We had a really good question in the tax class last weekend. If I paid $1,000 for those ETH tokens, and after they appreciate, I only take $1,000 out, I'm just removing my initials, and that's not taxable, the person said. But no, it is taxable, because like Alex just noted, the value of the tokens you purchased appreciated. It's not that you're taking $1,000 and selling that. It's that you are taking tokens. Maybe let's say 1 ETH was worth $1,000. You are taking one token and watching it appreciate over time, and then half of that token is what you are selling. And so it is the appreciation that you are paying a tax on. And depending on how long you held it or didn't hold it, you'll pay capital gains at a long or short-term rate. If you hold for less than 366 days, you'll be taxed at the same rate at which your income is taxed. And if you hold it for 366 days or more, I believe the gains rate is it's usually lower for most people. It's 15%?
Usually it's 15% in most cases.
Got it. Thank you very much.
It's really not even worth saying a percentage. You need to consult the IRS guidelines because there are many different categories. Short-term capital gains taxes based on your income, and there's actually a pretty significant number of people who do not have to pay anything.
We were talking about long-term though.
Long-term, okay, gotcha. Same thing. There are different brackets, and you got to check the IRS guidelines.
Got it.
But for most people, it'll be 15%.
Yep.
And you would just Google IRS guidelines capital gains.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a whole write-up. There is a new one published every year with the updated brackets. So I think the ones for 2025 should be out by now. But
yeah, I'm looking at irs.gov right now. Whoa.
You guys reminded me, today is the annual saddest day of the year for me, where I get to go look at my bank account and then just see how much money gets ripped out of it by the federal government. Just,
Yeah.
Womp, womp.
Luckily, today is also the day where the outdoor bar right across the street from me is open for the first time. So, and it's going to be rainy, so I'm just going to go stand outside there in the rain with like a frozen margarita with like a double shot in it. Just sad. Just,
I forgot
I absolutely will do that.
Need to make a payment today. I think I'm going to owe taxes this year. Sad. Very sad.
Well,
okay.
Well, interesting question. What do you think about... Oh, sorry, Evan, unless I'm rug pulling the rapid fire questions.
Go for it.
Yeah, what do you think about holding stables if the dollar is falling? Well, here's the thing. I mean, if you want to hold a stronger currency, you could go look at, like, I think the pound and the euro were... No, it was the Swiss franc has recently been absolutely annihilating the dollar. I mean, there are a whole bunch of stable coins out there. You can hold stable coins in a different currency, you know? If you're in the US, you'll have to do it on some sort of decentralized exchange. I haven't explored that option, but like that option is definitely out there for you if you want to hold, you know, digital euros or digital pound or digital Swiss francs or digital. You don't want Chinese yuan because they're devaluing that. But, you know, I mean, you can do that if you want. I would still probably hold it in US dollars because still the global reserve currency, but I mean, yeah, you can change it up if you want, if you feel more comfortable holding another currency.
I don't have an opinion on it. I think that's a good opinion. Alex, did you really rug the rapid fire list? I think that was only 2 questions, man.
Well, as I said, there were some rapid fire ones and there were some long form ones, and you never know.
I just feel like we only answered 2 of them.
Then we found a plethora of other topics.
I just feel so bad. I feel bad for those people who are like, he saw my question, they're going to answer it, and then they're just like, wait a second, hello, Bueller?
This is a gross misrepresentation of the facts.
You know?
Well, the next one is for Will because he's uniquely qualified to answer this question, and I know that it's one of his new passions, and he's extremely excited about it. So, Will, I was wondering if you could tell us about your new moon cycle-based trading strategy. That's why I did it, folks. If you're not watching this via video, the life is just draining from Will's face as he becomes sadder and sadder. He was so excited. For just a brief second.
Do you see the tears welling up in my eyes?
Yeah, I feel like if you could zoom in, there's just like a single tear forming.
I'm trying to get it out.
What's so sad about your moon-based trading strategy?
Do you see the glisten?
I can actually see the glisten. He's.
I can see the glisten.
You see it? It's starting to come. It's starting right there.
It hurt him deeply.
It hurt me deeply.
But for real,
Next
someone
question.
did ask about moon cycles.
Yeah,
I can save. Go ahead. If you feel, I forgot. If you feel strongly about this, well, then please.
68% of the time, when there is a full moon, trading volume increases. It doesn't mean it's bullish or bearish. It just means that stupid people with their stupid money go, the moon is big, therefore put big money in big market. And we have not evolved that far from the moment where we first stepped out of the caves, swinging sticks out of each other. And I am upset about it. And there you go. I mean, to turn down the joking, you will see stuff. You'll see moon trading strategies. But the thing is you can pull up charts that say it's bullish during a full moon, or it's bearish during a full moon, or it's bullish during a blood moon, or it's bearish during a blood moon, or like when you have a banana moon versus the watermelon moon versus a cookie moon that has a bite taken out of it. It's just like it does blah blah blah. So you can find whatever fucking information you want about this stupid shit to either side of the argument.
What about the cheese moon, Will?
I hate you. I hate you so much. The cheese moon is the full moon, okay? Which is I hate you.
But does it make a difference if it's full of like a sharp cheddar versus like a camembert or something like that? Or
actually, yeah, the sharp cheddar means there's going to be more manipulation. But
Gotcha.
if you have like a Gruyere cheese, it just means that like, you know, you're probably going to get like a dinosaur pattern on the chart.
the fact that sharp cheddar is orange is a happy coincidence in the fact that it's a manipulative moon.
That's exactly why I chose it.
Be sure to come through on the next full moon when we'll be trading the charts and listening to Pink Floyd all night. It'll be great.
Yeah.
See you there.
I'm glad you caught on. That was a smart person joke. Or at least people obsessed with cheese.
I appreciate that.
And also aware of politics.
Okay, well, I've had my fun and I've tortured Will enough for today. So
you made me cry.
did actually bring a tear to his eye.
Yeah,
and
there was a literal tear.
I like to think it was the good one because this is Will's new favorite strategy, and he's been spending a lot of time talking about the moon lately. So I don't know. Make of that what you will.
It makes the people happy, and I give them what they want every now and again. All right, we talk about it.
So,
go ahead.
Moving on, Evan. I think this is one that you have probably dabbled around with a little bit more. Jay Heat was curious about no-code solutions, if there are new ones or good ones for building apps and dApps. And I know that especially right now, we are kind of entering this era where I would even go so far as to say, don't bog yourself down too hard with looking for things that are completely no code, especially when AI is where it is, and the ability for people with no software development experience to sit down and take enough of a crash course to, as the kids are calling it, vibe code something with an AI LLM. Especially the ones that are more specifically designed now for coding. GPT has coding specific models. Claude and Perplexity both have coding specific models as well. Gemini and Grok are also getting better and better at doing coding. I mean, you have a lot of options. And essentially, if you can understand like the basic flow of putting an app together, which is something that with no experience, you can also just ask the AI like, hey, I want to make an app. I have zero coding experience. What kind of process should I follow to build one that actually works with you? It will build you a list of steps that you can then just copy down and feed right back into it, and just sit there and come up with something and create something usable without ever having to touch a no-code app like platform build or whatever. Often those things do not have the world's greatest user experience, or they're very limited in the scope of what you're actually able to pull out of them. I believe they'll have to get better if they want to stay any kind of relevant in a world where AI is what it is already, not even accounting for the fact that it's going to continue to get better every single week. But that's what I would do. Evan, I don't know if you have a different thought.
The first time Jay Heat asked me this question, I was shirtless in my kitchen cooking food, and I told him, listen, man, I don't have my computer at the ready, so I don't have any of my resources here, but I suggested Bubble. And today I would say Bubble plus Third Web together, deadly combo. Third Web, if you're not familiar with it, thirdweb.com is like drag and drop smart contracts.
Can I pause you really quick just to say I'm working like ridiculously thoroughly every day to try to get deeper connections to Third Web as a company, because I really want, like, one of my ultimate goals, I'm just putting this out into the universe to manifest this. And if you have the ability to help me with any of this, please let me know. One of my ultimate goals, and this is a lofty one, is to get Stephen Bartlett on the show. He's the CEO and founder of Third Web, and he also hosts my favorite podcast, Diary of a CEO. the dude is epic. And I would love to have him on specifically to talk Web3, because every now and then it kind of peeks through a little bit in his interviews. He mentions like a little bit, and he's an OG as far as Web3 is concerned. And Third Web is dope. So if you have any connections, let me know. Nil, can you help me with this? Nil is in the chat right now.
Wow, if
for
only
anyone.
you knew someone that directly works with them.
And
All right.
John Whalen,
Neil, I'm
look at
gonna
John
text you
Whalen
as
going
soon
to
as
hook
we're
you
done.
up. He says, I'm going to DM him.
Oh, thanks, John.
John,
Okay,
I'm
Neil,
gonna
never
DM.
mind. John Whalen
John's
is on
got
the
it.
case.
John's got it. Yeah.
Listen. Don't knock it, man. He's probably served that brother many times. Let me tell you, Third Web is a killer tool. If you're looking for like more general no-code developer stuff, you might look at Grok, like Alex suggested, knows code pretty well. But I'm seeing a lot of people say that Claude's recent update handles code really well. And in the comments, thank you to the good crust, we have got a suggestion for lovable.dev. Other such tools, OpenZeppelin, that's wizard.openzeppelin.com. It's got a lot of smart contracts that are very successful, like have been deployed and tested again and again, forked and copied, that kind of thing. And the last one I would tell you is if you're just trying to design like an integrated community experience, like, you know, quests for your NFTs, token gating, then you might check out QuestKit or guild.xyz. I'll put all of these in the Rise Up Discord server, and that seems like as good a time as any to tell you that if you have questions, like Alex said, that don't get answered here, or you just need a place to get a second opinion on a token, on a link, you want to see the links we post from the show, that's where we're going to send them. It's where the show lives 24/7, and all that's missing is you. So check it out, discord.gg/riseup. Also, Good Crust recommends Bolt, B-O-L-T, .new. Claude 3.7. Good suggestions. Thank you. Okay. Rapid fire, man. Hit me with another one.
All right. So a good question that I think we haven't actually sat down and answered in our fashion in a minute is, I have X dollars. I have a desire to invest. What do I buy?
What are you going to say?
I don't know, bonds. I don't know, go buy some. I don't know, if you've never invested before, go start with something simple. But no, in crypto, I mean, we always say like the first thing you should go do is buy. Yeah, Safe Moon. It's a literal Ponzi scheme. Don't do that. And so we always say buy a stable coin first. And here's the thing. That's Alex's answer. And I like that move, but it's not really what I would first suggest. I would say that's the right move if you are very Web3 curious and you want to take something onto like some type of DeFi protocol to earn interest off of or something like that. You want to go explore these applications that we're talking about, and you can only do that if you get your hot wallet and you go and connect to, you know, some kind of decentralized finance exchange or whatever, right? Some kind of solution. If you have zero interest in doing that, though, you know, buying a stable coin is a good move if you are like very emotionally, like you feel like I have to buy now. It's probably because you're hearing all these stories of people making all this money and stuff, and you're probably coming in and buying the literal top. So in that case, buy a stable coin would be my suggestion to those people. If you're like, I got to get in, but I don't have any interest in this, you know, Web3 stuff, but I feel like I need to be exposed as an investor, buy the stable coin first and settle yourself down, because you are not in an emotional place to be making financial decisions. However, if you've always been curious and you're like, hey, I have a long-term goal, or I've been waiting for the markets to dip really hard and the markets have collapsed and I think my timing's good, buy Bitcoin. Don't buy anything else. Just buy Bitcoin first. And hey, you've checked the box of I now have exposure to this new industry, in the leader in the space, in the air quotes safest one, you know, the one that's getting the most institutional adoption. And now let me take my time investigating the rest of this, doing some research, doing my due diligence, and learning how to navigate this space and try to find what's truly valuable, right? So I would say the answer is different on what your interest and goals are in this Web3 space, and, you know, where you are emotionally with the market. And that's where I'd say the answer is either stable coins or Bitcoin almost every single time. except for rare instances. If this is the first time you're getting into crypto, that'd be my answer.
I love that answer, and I am actually going to bring back an off the soundboard sound effect to give you my answer. This is a crypto fortune cookie that comes to us by way of Solum. With a little interpretation from me, it says, you should ask, why should I buy? Not what should I buy? And I think that is profound and beautiful. If you can't answer the question, why would I buy this? You have no business buying it. For everything you think, should I buy this? Just ask why. Why would I buy this? Is it going to go up in value? Is the company building something great? Do I know someone personally and have inside information? I don't know. There are many reasons why you may or may not buy. It's got safe in the name. It's a dog coin. I don't know. I don't know what your thesis is, but why leads you to deeper insights and answers? Because to answer that question, you must know yourself. What's your risk tolerance? What's your time frame? What's your skill set? And then you'll be able to determine what, if anything, you should purchase. I am inclined to, though, say, just like Will, buy Bitcoin. If you're looking to invest in cryptocurrency and you haven't done that, you've missed. You've missed the first exit. You got to go back.
Mm-hmm.
Alex, what about you? And I feel like maybe this question is good to tee you up with. If stablecoins don't appreciate, why would you invest in them? Because I feel like your standard answer is usually, as is mine, a stablecoin is a good first bet.
So, no, I love this question because every single time I get it, I try to level up the quality of my answer a little bit. So if we were to strip it back to the root of the question, you have a desire to invest some amount of money that you are holding and you feel like you should be doing something more with. The nature of investing is you would like your money to do more for you. Why else would you invest? You could bury it in their backyard and let it sit there and protect it, or you could put it out into the world of money and make it work for you. So when we talk about money working for you, your ultimate goal is to at least break even. And what I mean by break even is I like to say close the gap. If you have money just sitting in a checking account, earning no real interest at all, thanks to the nature of the dollar and the federal government in the United States, your dollar is losing purchasing power every single year thanks to a combination of currency debasement and inflation. Two different things. Inflation is the rising cost of goods and services. Debasement is the reduction of scarcity of the dollar thanks to the insertion of more into circulation, printing more money. That gap from zero to the rate that it's losing purchasing power is a lot bigger than most people would expect. And if you want some truly horrifying numbers and statistics, go look and see what has actually been lost, not just due to inflation, but including debasement from what year is it, Will? 1913, when the Federal Reserve was instituted, your dollar has lost purchasing power. It's significant. So if you figure a base rate of purchasing power loss of 20% a year, you just want to cover that gap. And you can do that by investing. The S&P 500 is commonly referred to as a safe long-term investment strategy. On average, you can expect about 7% annually if we take the conservative estimate for growth in the S&P 500. So we're not even covering half of a 20% gap. So the first thing I would say is if that's the decision that we're trying to make, and we're just trying to cover as much of the gap as possible, you now need to weigh the risk of the whatever investment vehicle you're looking at with the reward of its potential to close that gap. So I always say stablecoins because it's the lowest risk way that you can get exposure to this new burgeoning industry of Web3 and crypto investments without having to open yourself up to the same kind of volatility of a token whose price changes every single day. And there are so many ways that you can earn really good interest with a stablecoin that will help you close that gap while you learn more and build conviction. Because my assertion would be that if you're asking me what you should invest in, you're not in a position to make an investment of a significant amount into anything. And so a dollar-spec stablecoin is probably I think you were looking for the ding.
I was looking for the ding, but that's kind of appropriate. If you're asking that kind of question, you might need a rim shot.
My favorite wasn't just the noise, but it's also the immediate
Oh. If I had $1 for every time Evan accidentally somebody who he was supposed to ding, I would have like $15.
Yeah. 15? Damn. Okay.
Damn.
Anyway.
Okay.
So you're earning interest on these dollars, yeah.
Yes. Plus, the rabbit hole that you'll fall down looking for great yield on stable coins in crypto will lead you to so many things that will help you build conviction. Because think about it this way. If you're like looking for something to invest in and you're like, oh, well, this platform is awesome. It has so many users and I can start earning interest on my dollars. So at least while I'm figuring the rest out, I'm closing some of this gap and my money is working for me. Maybe not as hard as I would like it to be eventually, but it's doing something. I'm getting there. You can satiate a little bit of that FOMO feeling like I have money sitting on the sidelines and I wanted to be doing something with it. Other people are making money with their money. I want to do the same thing. And then I would agree with Will that when I get to the point where I'd like to add something volatile, I would start with the one that I would feel the most confident holding long term. And in the world of crypto, there's really nothing that is on the same level as Bitcoin. And that way you could experience that volatility for the first time, buying something that could be worth less tomorrow than it was today when you paid for it, but something that you can also build that kind of long-term conviction in to feel more and more comfortable holding for a longer period of time than you would some random altcoin that some guy on Twitter is really excited about. That's how I would start.
Beautiful. We had a question here that I don't know the answer to. That's a good follow-up, and I think the answer is yes. But is there somewhere a crypto index? Who's got that product? I feel like it just makes me think of, as long as we're talking about stable-ish investments, you talked about the S&P, you talked about that kind of thing.
What, you want to buy like a bucket of altcoins?
Like a bucket of altcoins, but
you can do it at Grayscale.
Is it Grayscale? That's who it is. That's right.
Grayscale has an offering. And I just don't know why you would do that. I just don't get it. Because I wouldn't. Yeah. Here's the issue. It's like you have a bucket of altcoins, but the thing is altcoins, even some that are in like the top 20 largest by market cap, in 4 years are gone. They're just gone. So like, why would you expose yourself to a bucket of things who might be at zero in 4 or 5 years? So that one it just doesn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's
but
it's
it makes sense to you. Yeah.
It would be weird too if you're a crypto native. I could understand wanting to invest money that's not in crypto. Like maybe you have funds tied up in a 401k that you want exposure to crypto with. But if it wasn't a vehicle that allowed me to, altcoins are so risky, I would just feel weird. It'd be like having a basket of eggs, and one of those eggs is maybe gonna like jump out of your basket, and you've either got to drop the whole basket or double down. You know what I mean? Like, that's not a good choice. I'd rather just, pick my eggs up and be able to move them independently.
Yeah, same.
So, if you've got a crypto question, this is the place for it. We're live Monday through Thursday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. And wherever you are listening or watching now, we watch all the comments and we would love to hear from you. We'd love for you to check out the podcast. We'd love for you to check out all our other socials, and you can find the courses, the coaching, and the free Discord community and more at theriseuppmorningshow.com. This is your last week, I will say, to buy the Rise Up Morning Show mug. If you listen to me on the podcast, you don't know about the mug, but the Morning Show mug is iconic. It's a limited edition mug featuring our very first logo, and because it's been so faithful, we're going to give it a proper retirement and let it ride its dog and pony off into the sunset soon. If you want a mug like this that makes your coffee, your whiskey, even your water taste just a little bit better, then check it out at theriseuppmorningshow.com. And then stay tuned. We're getting the second edition mug. The proceeds support the show. You can drink 11, 15, or 20 ounces and look just as good. Not quite as good as the people who have this mug, but you do look really, really good when you're drinking out of a Rise Up Morning Show mug. I will be retiring my mug and upgrading to the second edition. The Good Crust says, I give my wife an exclusive Rise Up Morning Show sometimes. Listen, the name puns.
But
yeah,
right. That's,
This is a gross misrepresentation.
It sounds like Solum's idea for the generic Rise Up pill. Not in the works yet, not sponsored that way, but we could be for now. All we've got to help you rise up is the coffee.
There's a dick pill that just has our 3 faces on it.
Oh my god.
The rebrand from Little Blue to Little Purple.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing little about this. I gotta
All
tell
right,
you.
we're getting
Ain't nothing
dangerous
little
now.
about this. That's on the package.
I can't believe it. I can't
Clip.
believe
We
it.
can
Oh,
clip. Ain't
God.
nothing little about this.
Someone take that
Gwumping
man's
myself.
soundboard away.
Yeah,
Yes.
somebody take it
Send-
away. Okay.
Send yourself a gwump.
Give us your last minute questions, your suggestions, your good jokes, your words of wisdom, and then come back and hang out with us tomorrow. I will be off the show, but they'll be here.
That feels like the perfect topic to segue into Cosmic's question from a million years ago. Do you think Satoshi would be proud of us?
I think he'd be a little disappointed. I think he'd be a little disappointed.
I can tell you he would be less proud than he was 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you're right about that.
Mhm.
But speaking more generally, it's a fun and interesting thought experiment to kind of have that conversation because, you know, one could argue that in building something like Bitcoin and then sort of pulling a Homer Simpson back into the hedges, that the goal was really to just let the technology do what it's going to do. And it's only natural that things like this are going to go through a crazy cycle where they get used appropriately, they get abused, they get manipulated, like the wrong people show up and do the wrong thing, the right people get stepped on, like as an industry like builds from something like this. So I think it's probably impossible to answer, but it's an interesting thought experiment. And I like to think that, I mean, the cop-out answer is for some of the stuff, oh my God, absolutely. I mean, the fact that something like Bitcoin turned into ZK proof-based decentralized digital identification protocols that could, I mean, literally allow people who've never been able to be identifiable, that ability is one of the coolest things ever. The fact that an NFT now exists, despite the fact that maybe it was used for a monkey with snot hanging out of its face wearing a sombrero, notwithstanding, the thing that made that monkey sell to somebody else for $100,000 is a pretty cool piece of tech. So I think there is a lot to be proud of, and it's kind of just what you would choose to focus on. And I think one of the problems is that we spend way too much of our energy focusing on the dumbest shit ever, just so that we can complain about it, when we would probably be a lot better served just holding up the stuff that gets overshadowed all the time, that is genuinely the coolest shit ever made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wait.
I think he'd look at BitBoy and just cry.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And maybe us too sometimes. I don't
Yeah.
know.
But that was a good idea. It was number the mugs and put them on the blockchain. Maybe
Yeah,
we could
and
have
the
like
spoiler-
a mug NFT or something.
The spoiler
Oh, yeah.
alert is I have done it. If you purchase or have purchased one of these, you will get a link to claim the NFT that represents your mug. Now, of course, the token is not paired to your mug. If you sell the mug and forget to move the token, that's, we are early, and that is evidence of that. But if you want to claim a collectible that is for purchasers of the mug only, you can do it. I will be sending it to the email address that you used to purchase the mug. So,
Nice.
yeah, stay tuned for that. I thought that was a good suggestion, and also the suggestion to put a QR code on the mug. I feel like if I could find a way to put a QR code in one of these little logos that was like kind of hidden, I would do it.
Yeah, the thing is people will put it in the wash and then it fades and you'll
Yeah.
scan it and it won't work anymore.
Yeah. Same thing for the NFT. People will sell the mug, give it to Salvation Army, send it to their nephew or whatever, and they'll have the NFT in their wallet. And then their nephew's going to show up and be like, because of course they love the show too. They're going to show up and be like, I've got my mug. And I'll be like, is it on chain? And they'll be like, not your keys, not your token, not your mug. Sorry, man.
Not your mug.
Not your keys, not your mug, as they say.
Got to take it away.
Legally, I could prove that you've stolen this mug, sir. You don't have the NFT.
That's right, man. That's where we're headed. That's the future we're headed towards. Got mugged. Mo Wow says.
I will say though, Evan, I think I just now realizing, I think I have the single most exclusive version of the mug because I don't even think you made a special
did.
one for yourself.
I did. You and
do?
I have the twin exclusive versions.
Have
do
I
you have
ever
it with
seen you
right
use
now?
yours? Yeah, of course.
I
It's,
mostly don't use mine. I'm trying to. Oh, it's got a pour over in it right now. Yeah,
it's got a
hang
pour
on.
over in it, but
Actually,
that's
let me show this
that's
to the people.
my-
For everybody who's listening to audio only, Alex has a version of the mug that's got, you got it, his little ghoul on it. The ghoul that Kaio designed for him that looks like the Rise Up morning show rat baby, but Alex. And I have
got
one
my
too.
glasses.
Mine doesn't look
Mhm.
as
The
much like me
stash.
as yours looks like you, but it's definitely mine. I'm proud of it.
I didn't know. I assumed that you had printed at least one, but I'm trying to think. I don't know that I've
least one.
seen you give it.
I've used it on stream before, but mostly I try to use this one just because I want people to see the product they're going to get. I don't want to give them too much FOMO.
They all want Evan's face.
Listen. On the way out the door, let me see if we've got a handful of questions that we can answer, because we've got about 10 minutes left before we ride our dogs and ponies into the sunset. And let me remind you, if you are listening on the podcast, that the best way to get in touch with us is to join the live show or use your thumbs to move the mouse or flip the screen to the place where it says leave a comment. Leave us a comment. Leave us a rating. Leave us a review. We read everything we see online, and we take it very personally. So we're asking you, please like us. Really, really like us. Or let us know what we can be doing better to help you. Solum wants to know who is number 1 and who is number 2. I'm pretty sure, Alex, I ordered your mug first. I think you're number 1.
Yes, this is the way.
But
That
I
makes sense.
have
This
is the original like Rise Up morning show mug. This is the prototype. It was the first perfect one, and so I got that one, baby.
I have no mug.
Well, as as Joe said, fun, polite, and excited reminder that we will be in Toronto for the Consensus Conference. I believe we arrive on the 12th or the 13th. We'll be there for the week. Do we know, Evan? I know you've been working more on the side event idea for us, but do we know what day we're shooting for yet?
Let's
People can only...
plan it right now. I honestly was thinking we would look at the consensus schedule to see where people were going to be.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. Yeah.
You know, like I don't want to schedule at the same time Solana's throwing a crazy party, because then nobody's going to come to our thing. You know what I mean? But I don't know. We really could do it anytime. We're going to get together at the ballroom. It's the ballroom bowl. I'll show it on screen here. Let me see. The ballroom. John Street. Give me a second. Somebody stall for me.
Well, in the meantime, tomorrow is the biggest news for financial markets, which is Jerome Powell has a speech at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and he's going to be giving his thoughts on the market. If you don't know who Jerome Powell is, he is the head of the Fed. The Fed is the central bank of the United States. They set monetary policy for the dollar. And if you hear a whole bunch of hoopla about us and people and Trump wanting to have rates get cut, he is the most influential person at the Fed to do that. He doesn't run the Fed. He's a part of a board, but he's the most influential person. So Jerome Powell speaking about his thoughts on the market tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. The most bullish thing he could say is, hey, we really like where inflation data is recently. We are worried about tariffs, but we are considering factors and awaiting to analyze some more data before we potentially look to come in and support markets with quantitative easing or money printing. Basically, that'd be the Fed cutting rates or going out and buying bonds directly. Well, honestly, the most bullish thing would be Jerome Powell saying we're worried about the bonds market and we want to try to bring rates on bonds down. So we are evaluating over the next month or two of potentially buying bonds directly. What that means is the central bank of the United States, the people that have the money printer, would be taking money and pumping it directly into markets, which is very supportive for economic growth and for financial assets going up. It's bad for inflation, though, long term. But long term, we all know that every fiat currency, fiat being normal, everyday currency, the euro, the dollar, government money, they're all getting inflated into oblivion long term. But because that's just the nature of things. But in the short term, it would definitely help financial markets. So that's the most bullish thing to look forward to. Obviously, something bearish would be, I'm really worried about inflation. We're not looking to cut interest rates anytime soon. The bond market seems pretty stable. That's some bearish stuff that you could say. So keep your eyes open for that. Again, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow.
Beautiful. I do have it pulled up. This is the Ballroom Bowl. I'll show everybody on TikTok. If you want to see it, you can go to johnst.theballroombowl.ca. This is the location. Thanks and shout out to our good friend Joe for suggesting this. It's like a eat, play, dine. They've got some tasty looking food. It's the kind of place that's not going to be too terribly loud. We can all hang out, have a drink. We can get to know each other and bowl it up together. And I want to tell you that the secret alpha is, if you're thinking about a trip to Toronto for Consensus and you don't have a ticket yet, then jump into the Rise Up Discord server, because I'm laughing at this comment that says the Canadian version of main event. We have a main event right down the street. It's like Chuck E. Cheese for adults in Canada. Mm-hmm. And we have a thread that is called, I do believe, Consensus. I'll double check, or somebody can get me a fact check on this, because I'm not entirely sure.
Fact check yourself, brother.
We have a thread where people can coordinate the purchasing of tickets, because the tickets have just gone up. They're like $800 a ticket, but you can get 3 for the price of 1. And we recommend you do that. And even if you can't buy a ticket, you should still think about going, because it's easy to attend. Most of the side events are free. Being around the conference, around the people, you're going to meet all the folks you want to talk to anyway.
Yeah, I'm also going to be at the Las Vegas conference. I don't really plan on going to the conference itself, but I'll be in Vegas. Oh, and actually, I had a coaching session with Justin, right? Yeah. With Justin, and we had a great time just chatting. And we're going to try to coordinate going to the shooting range together, because my favorite shooting range is out there. It's out in the desert, and you get to go shoot some real big guns. It's a good time. Nice. So, and he's a gun guy. I'm like a intermediate gun guy. So we'll go out there. So if anybody wants to come join us, otherwise I'm not going to be at the conference, but like if people want to like meet up around, get a drink or something, I'm happy to do that.
Beautiful. The conference is when, Will?
It is. Oh, it's in May. Let me verify.
And the one in Toronto, Consensus, is May 14th through 16th, but we're going to be there the 12th through the 16th. And we will let you know ASAP on the show when the event is. I have written down a reminder for myself today to look at the other events, because some of them are surely already planned. Yeah. And we'll get it booked ASAP.
The Bitcoin conference is May 27th to 29th, which is in the middle of the week. And I'll be there the weekend before, and I'll probably stay the weekend after. It's also my best friend's birthday, and he lives in Vegas, and it was perfect timing. And the other thing I was going to say is, if you want to buy tickets for the Bitcoin conference, I actually have a promo link that I've done a horrible job advertising to get discounted tickets.
So horrible that I didn't even know you had one.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. But if you click the link on my profile page, there's you can use that to get discounted tickets for Bitcoin Las Vegas, and it's much cheaper than Consensus.
Beautiful. Well, my friends, it is about that time when we're going to round up our final thoughts and ride our dogs and ponies into the sunset. So let us know what you're thinking as you head off to face the day or the night, wherever you are, whenever you listen, and we will wrap this thing up with a nice little bow. Will, do you have a final thought for our friends? It sounds. I feel like you gave 2 good final thoughts already, so give me a third.
My final thought is, I have a work call in 1 minute I totally forgot about. So I love you all, and I hate the moon. My final thought.
Beautiful, beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. William Watson, thank you so much. Alex, what about you? Have you got a final thought, question, suggestion, good joke, word of wisdom for the folks back home?
It's another day where I thought 10 minutes ago that I should have a very specific, just absolute banger prepared, and I definitely don't. No, I honestly... No, I just I'm excited about where everything is going right now for the show. It's just the best part of the day, getting to do this, and working on some more guests. Will, see you later. And I've got some pretty exciting ones lined up in the pipeline. We're working on some stuff with Amy on Twitter. To get more representation and another time slot added at least for all of us, to be broadcasting something on the weekends, which we have not done yet before. So excited about that. And then, of course, just ramping up for consensus, going with Polygon. It's going to be a great week. We'll probably be taking Monday off on consensus week, and then
Oh yeah, I guess
streaming.
we'll be traveling, won't we?
Streaming
Probably.
from the event Tuesday, Wednesday night, and then Thursday morning again. And at some point in there, we've got there's some great guests. There's some friends of the show that are going to be coming through, I think, to help us round out the panel from boots on the ground in Toronto, which will be very exciting, and then some pretty exciting high profile guests that we'll do some fun announcements for and everything like that once we get there. So no, I'm just happy to be here, man.
Beautiful. You're gonna shout out Music Man for the great suggestion. You could use the mug as the physical entry ticket to the venue in Toronto. Make a little history. I like the idea.
The mug, and if any of the super OGs are holding TFMs, then you get definitely special treatment. And
yeah.
good
If
crust,
you're
we
holding
will
the
sign your
TFM,
chest.
you're getting we'll sign
yeah.
your chest. You're getting a hug. Everyone's getting a hug anyway, but you're getting like a sincere.
I will absolutely buy everyone a beer.
I would buy TFM holders a beer too.
100%.
Hopefully 3,500 people don't show up. And then we'll be having a rough time.
This brings them all back to life.
Be like, Polygon, could you guys cover this? And I wanted to let you know. I had a final thought, and it just flew out of my head. It was about the event, about the dates. Oh, that tomorrow and Thursday, I will not be on the show. So if you are watching on TikTok, be sure to look out for Alex and Will's profiles to host the show. You can find the links at theriseupmorningshow.com. And if you're a podcast listener, there will be a slight delay getting the episode uploaded. So if we skip directly to Monday before you get Wednesday and Thursday, don't fret, don't sweat. We'll figure it out and get it.
And we are
possibly
hoping
hopefully.
that we can pull a miracle out of the ground with these soundboards. Will and I just are cursed with soundboards. I had one, we got it working perfectly, hosted one whole episode from it. It worked great. And then like the next week, my soundboard was just like, hey, you know what? I'm done. And just turned into a brick. And currently working through Guitar Center to get it replaced or upgraded. And then Will actually has one arriving today. So there is a small chance that if that works out, everything will be normal. We'll just be Sans Evan, which means
I love that your soundboard just said
I will absolutely die on this hill.
and committed to it.
And it did. Yeah, he really committed to the bit. Yeah, so if you want to come see a much less smooth, Evan-less show, Will and I are going to be doing our best to fill the void left by Evan taking a break. But apparently Evan needs to rest every now and then or something.
Well, I'm not even resting. We're going to visit Kimberly's family, and
Well, there you go.
I'm going to be unplugged. It'll be a different kind of rest. It'll be active rest. I'm looking forward to it. So if you're in Arkansas and you see a guy who looks like me, it could be me or just not me. Arkansas is a really big state, guys. That's it. We got to go. Thank you, everybody, for being the very best part of what we do. We appreciate all of you so much, and we look forward to seeing you in the Discord and on the show again. Until then, everybody, stay safe, be well. Until next time.